Hello everyone and welcome to Minecraft! Today I'm going to be showing you my take on building a fantasy castle, and how I went about it. So I started off by building the foundations, laying out a large rounded rectangle before adding on the beginnings of what would become the towers. I decided to go with the classic stone bricks for the main body of the castle, with nether bricks making up the roof and details. You'll notice that I've already started playing around with the overall height and shape of the castle, building up a rough guide on how I wanted it to look. My main aim was to go with a tiered structure, using the nether bricks to break up the various levels. Here we have the beginnings of the front entrance. I wanted to make it as grand as possible, as it would be the very first thing that any visitors see. You might notice the roof gaining a winged appearance here. I also decided to include a few smaller towers throughout the build, dividing the grand porch into separate divisions to give it a lot more depth. But at this point I was beginning to realise that the two main blocks I was using just weren't cutting it, so I decided to add in some spruce wood planks to make out some of the details lost in all the nether brick. I knew that I wanted a raised entrance from the beginning, and not just a road leading in from the desert. So that's why you can see this little cobblestone rim around the entire castle, just to give me a guide on where the base of the building would be. Going up from that I used marble slabs to really highlight the stairs leading into the structure. But before I could continue, there was still a lot of holes to fill in on the main walls. Now, on smaller builds I like to build the structure as a whole piece, but because of the size of this castle I decided it would be better to get the front done first, then move on to the other areas after I developed a style I was happy with. And there we have it, the completed grand entrance, flanked on either side by the two small towers. Above we have the double balconies and the port windows. Those windows blend the kind of Roman aesthetic into something more like a giant gingerbread house. They're just there to make sure it's not all straight lines and hard edges. Now above the entrance you'll immediately notice something different. I placed these three towers above, capping them off with spruce wood, and after getting the first one to the height I wanted, I was beginning to think the castle was starting to look a little too symmetrical. Originally I wanted each of the towers to be the same height, but I experimented a bit and decided that something a little less conventional would be better. So what I ended up with was a rising set of structures, each tower taller than the last. I also began to place glowstone around the towers and entrance, embedding it into the walls to make the whole castle light up at night. Finally, I applied the same building principles to the wider towers on the edge of the castle, connecting them to the main body with yet more balconies. All that was left on the front was adding more details, like this spruce and glass facade next to the towers. Each side of it used a different design, because I really wanted to keep those subtle changes going when looking at the castle from different angles. I embedded a few more windows, like these acorn-shaped ones on each tower, added a touch more glowstone, and generally did my best to break up any flat surfaces, because they can really spoil some of the hard work you put into your builds. So there we have it. The front of the castle, complete in all its glory. Join me next time when I continue with the rest of the castle. But for now, it's time for me to say goodbye. And thanks for watching.